Hi, Capricorn Sun and Rising. Welcome to your July 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So, some of you may be coming into the month of July with relationship issues. There's a new moon in Cancer that has recently come and gone, June 28th, and that is your opposite sign, opposite house, seventh house of committed partnership. On the 5th of the month, Mercury goes there. One thing to note is that the seventh house is also legal affairs. So, some people are married and they're getting a divorce or dissolving that marriage. So they have to have paperwork, communication. Mercury can be those things in the seventh house. And on that same day, on July 5th, Mars goes into Taurus, a fellow earth sign. Later on, I think it's early August, Mars will meet up with Uranus. And this is a little bit premature for me to be talking about it, but it is important to note that Uranus is already in that sector, the ninth house, or actually for you, it's the fifth house. And therefore, it can be creating a very interesting situation for those of you who are single regarding your love life. Now, I just mentioned married Capricorn people. So even for those who are married, you might have a sudden change of heart, a sudden infatuation or love for a person that you just meet seemingly out of nowhere. There's a very unpredictable quality of Uranus. And in the fifth house, as it pertains to love matters, you may be feeling that sense of somebody just sweeping you off your feet just out of nowhere. You never saw it coming. And so Mars will meet with Uranus in the month of August and the beginning. I can't remember the exact dates, but that can also be for the collective in terms of very, rash actions that people are taking, which sometimes can be quite dangerous if they're not careful. But personally, for you, even on a personal level, you may do something very un-Capricorn-esque and make a decision, make a move that is sudden and unpredictable as it pertains to love. This is also the house of creative self-expression. So Mars here, starting on the 5th, can really make you go after something creatively with a passion. Also, in terms of love, this could be a love affair that there's a strong sexual component, because not only is Mars here, and this fifth house can be recreational sex, meaning sex for pleasure, not for procreation or not to demonstrate your undying love for someone. But not only can Mars be there for that, but it can also indicate, because of Mars itself, that lusty quality, that earthy quality. And it's funny because I used to work this is a weird thing to say, but I used to work in a health food store, and there was this, I think it was the name of an herb. I don't think it was a brand. It was called horny goatweed or something like that. And I think about Capricorn being a horny old goat. That just came to my mind. Okay, so on the 13th, there's a full moon in your sign, 21 degrees of Capricorn. So For you, the first house, and by the way, this is a general forecast. Some of you may actually have this in your 12th house. If you have, like, if your rising sign is 22 degrees, for instance, of Capricorn, this full moon will fall in your 12th house. But anyway, the point being that it eventually, whether it's this month, last month, or the month that's coming, you'll have some of these transits. So it's still good to see what is going on. And when a full moon is in your sign, this means that there's an opposition from that 7th house. And I'm saying, if it's actually in the first house, obviously. And that's relationship related. Oppositions can be about relationships. And really, I think a lot of that is because another person is our mirror. And it's easy to forget that and to see that person's doing this to me. They're not giving me what I want. And while that can be true sometimes, we still have to look at ourselves. Always bring it back to us. Not to blame ourselves for something that's going wrong, but to say, what is it that you're not getting your needs met? Why do you think that this person is supposed to meet your needs in that area? What has told you that? Is this a conditioned response, or is this really coming from something within yourself? Because everything that you need another person to provide is more dependency. And I know that Capricorns don't like dependency. I know that you like to be a master of your own domain, or whatever you want to call it. I do believe in interdependency, in the sense that couples rely on each other, but they're not just abdicating responsibility for a certain area of life to another person. And another way of looking at it too is you're not giving away your power and saying, if this person doesn't meet my needs, I'm somehow lacking in something. And I need to have something, when in fact, that's not necessarily true at all. You may be perfectly fine, but you are walking around like you are missing something. And you're waiting for somebody else to give that to you. So, so this is a great time to discover yourself. Full moons in your sign really make you aware of your own motivations, your own desires. And if you are in a relationship that's not suitable for you, then that is something good to know. Because I do believe that we should have common ground with the person that we're with. I'm not saying we should be with people that are incompatible with us. So maybe that is realizing that, and that nobody has to be the bad guy, that you can just be who you are, and that's okay. So anyway, that's happening. And by the way, it can also be something that you're letting go of within yourself. Maybe it's a dream that you're letting go of. Maybe it's a behavior pattern that doesn't serve you, that you need to let go of. It doesn't mean that you're acknowledging that you are at fault with a particular situation. Maybe you can clearly see that somebody is at fault, but you have been reacting a certain way that feeds into that situation. So a perfect example is codependency. Maybe you've been giving too much time and attention to somebody else's problems, and they need to start doing for self. And can you tell that I have Mars in Capricorn? I have that kind of hard-ass part of myself that that I associate with Capricorn. I hope I didn't offend anyone. But anyway, on the 17th, Venus goes into Cancer. Sorry for any environmental noise. They're doing some work outside, and I want to keep the windows open on this hot and steamy day. So this can actually smooth things over in that 7th house when Venus is there. Also, you can come to some kind of agreement, maybe. You harmonize with a situation. If this is a legal matter, Venus can be money too, so that might be something that is obtained or agreed upon by maybe altering your behavior after that full moon in your sign. You might find that your relationship improves, and that could be nice, and this might be proof in the pudding that that has happened. On the 19th, we have Mercury going into Leo. A few days later, on the 22nd, the Sun goes into Leo. And on the 28th, we have a new moon at 5 degrees of Leo. This is in the 8th house, which is other people's money. Now, what makes this so great is that if there has been some kind of back and forth with someone, this could be the time when the payout occurs. Interestingly, Jupiter goes retrograde on the same day as the new moon. And this is at 8 degrees 43 minutes of Aries. So Aries is another cardinal sign like you, Capricorn. And this is the 4th house of home and family. Jupiter has recently gone into this house. It's retrograding. This can be a time, I think, in the next year or so. Some Capricorn people may move to a larger residence, maybe one with more land. I don't know, something bigger and better, or you have an addition to your household. I have a whole video on this transit, Jupiter in Aries, for your sign, so please check out my channel for that. I'm sure I have a playlist which you could find it on. But even if sometimes I don't update my playlists and they're kind of half-assed, so I apologize for that. If any are like that, probably the best thing is to type it into my search box. But yeah, so this is in the 4th house, and maybe there is some kind of family matter that needs to be attended to. But Jupiter is expanding the home base in some way, and the new moon, all those Leo placements are in other people's money. So yeah, I mean, this could be if you're an inheritance is something that is something you anticipate, then this may be what is going on. And maybe that 4th house is the family home. If somebody has passed away recently and you're trying to sort things out, but even with you and a spouse, there might be some kind of developments with your domestic situation. And also, when Jupiter goes retrograde, it's about your values. You're internalizing these things. So, especially for a sign like Capricorn, which is an earth sign, make sure that you don't get caught up in money during this month where you just are hyper-focusing on that. Focus on what it symbolizes to you. And same thing with real estate. What does it symbolize? Is it about keeping up with the Joneses? Like it might be for some Capricorns to try to make sure that their status is intact, or that they can be seen as upstanding citizens or successful people. Saying, is that what life is really about? Is it really about having the biggest house on the block? Maybe you have the biggest house on the block and it's a lot of work and you're kind of like, I wish I had a little cottage. And so, yeah, maybe that's what Jupiter retrograde is downsizing. I never heard that interpretation, but it makes a lot of sense because Jupiter's about expansion. So why wouldn't the retrograde be the opposite of that? And the interesting thing about that is that there's still expansion. If you ever watch those tiny home videos, the people will say, I minimized my possessions and I ended up expanding my life because the person had more free time. They didn't have to just work long hours just to be able to possess their possessions. And so there was like something that was intangible, like time or like peace of mind, that was far more important than, the square footage that they had, the bragging rights to the square footage. I read once, it said that, if you're looking to impress people by, having this or that some people, they may be impressed by it, but if they are impressed by what you have, then they're not real friends because they're probably going to use you. They're probably, they're, materialistic. They're looking for how can they benefit from your situation, probably. Or they just are, totally into the material, and the other people will hate you, because they're jealous or envious. So it's like it's a lose-lose proposition. It really is folly to care about impressing other people because, like I said, they'll either hate you or they'll try to see if they can get a little something from it. I know that's pretty cynical, right? But I'm trying to make people think about how, what they value, I guess. Okay, that's what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.